Happy Mercury retrograde. Yes. Do not adjust your screens. Or, I mean, I guess if you can, then maybe do. Everything's a little tilted today. Anyway, I just got a new deck in the mail. It's this one. You may have seen it on Everlong Mystic. That's where I saw like 3 cards and I got it. I saw 3 cards and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get that deck. And then the second card I saw, I'm like, why? Like, who put Bob on the Magician? And for why? Like, for what? But anyway, I'm not gonna go through these card by card by card because Eve already did it. So we're just gonna get right into it. The Ace of Strands and the Lovers. That's a cut. I probably should have planned this a little bit. So I was like, oh, I'll just do like a few cards for Mercury retrograde. You know what? I'm gonna put some reversals in here. There's Bob on the Magician. The Magician with the Ace of Strands. That's Magician Ace of Wands. Oh, the strands are the lights. I get it. When lights will guide you home. Okay. So, oh, that was immediate. The Emperor in reverse. I didn't even get to ask a question. And the Ace of Spokes in reverse at the bottom of the deck with the Hierophant upright. It's Murray. Hierophant upright, Justice upright. Who is this? The King of Dice is upright. The Wheel of Fortune is behind um, Justice. This is actually interesting because it looks like on this Hierophant, it looks like it could be a spokes card because of the wheel, the Ferris wheel behind him. Ace of Spokes in reverse, the Hierophant upright, and Justice is upright. Justice being upright is also interesting because that makes me think of the Ace of Strands that we saw, that one light that was lit up. What are you doing, Nancy? I'm going to read Justice in the book. Um, I'm actually going to read all of these just to see, just to get a feel for the book. I mean, I already read the entry for the Magician with Bob. I had like a whole idea of what Bob was going to be. I was like, Bob energy is just like it's well intentioned, but like what Bob thinks it is and what it actually is are two completely different things. You know, if Bob knew the severity of the situation, I don't think Bob would have gave the advice that Bob gave. Like it was excellent advice. It was wonderful advice. Bob was like, he wasn't a bad dude, but and then it's fine. The reason why I put reversals in here is because they had the upside down, and I was like, gotta have reversals. So anyway, we're gonna start with the Emperor. Well, before that, because I saw the Emperor card, Matthew. Bob is very questionable. To me, for me, I almost pulled out my Demogorgon Funko Pop. that you gifted me. I'll have to do like a top-down reading when I do that. So Hopper is one of the cards I saw on Amazon on the Emperor. And the thing I like about Hopper as an Emperor is it feels like, because it feels like a lot of Emperor energy can carry connotations that are like very authoritative. But Hopper, like a Hopper Emperor feels deserved. Like a Hopper Emperor feels trusted. It feels elected and selected. Because Hopper shows up. And honestly, with the Emperor in reverse, because it's Hopper, it almost carries this energy of like someone or something that's needed that just like never turns up. And so it's almost needless suffering, but that's like a lot to put on one person. It's just like the series would have fell apart. Like Hawkins would have fell into the ground without him. Girl, wait. So the Emperor upside down. You are feeling more trapped than the owl in Eleanor Gillespie's hair, and it's time to find an escape. Are you struggling with an authoritative, toxic person or an overly rigid environment? If so, it's time to either advocate for yourself or get the heck out of Dodge. But whatever you do, remember that nothing is worth sacrificing your personal power. Hola, Gertrude. How are you doing? That's interesting. Because the Ace of Cups for me, especially in the Wild Unknown Tarot, is my Wellspring card. So there's almost this energy. It's almost this energy of like there's something that's for us to do in our lives. It's for us to come into some personal power in some way, to have a voice, take a stand, do whatever. And when we don't do that, that's there's something within ourselves that we don't come into. And so now it feels like there's this like divine spirit guided type energy that has to stop what it's doing and now try to like intervene. Like it feels like they're both in the middle of doing something else, but now they have to like assist. Which is fine, but like the energy of justice is delayed because of that. So let's see. What kind of assistance are they going to offer? Hey, glad to hear it. I was at work today, as I am most days. uh, and it's fine. Let me get through this. It's already midnight. It was a long day today. A long day. The scoops are pinnacles. I said, wait. The scoops are pinnacles. The spokes are cups. And it's like, but the spokes look like discs. And the discs are pinnacles. And the scoops are ice cream. Ain't that water? The 10 of dice in reverse. To be fair, I haven't finished the last episode of the most current season. So hopefully I don't see no spoilers in these cards. I mean, I'm relying on my memory to like I already remember some of these. Unless this was enough. See, I don't even know. Like it just came out, but I don't know like how current these cards are. The Ten of Dice is the energy of the Ten of Swords. It came out in reverse. And this is how they're going to help or what they're going to help with. The Eight of Scoops is at the bottom of the deck. This is a very tricky read. It's a tricky energy. And it feels like the only reason, like what makes it so tricky is that it feels like because of this divine intervention, in whatever way the divine intervenes, if we need them to, there's something that doesn't complete within the self. And because that thing doesn't complete within the self, there's some mastery that is never gained. The Eight of Pentacles is a card of apprenticeship that leads to mastery. But with this Ten of Swords in reverse, it feels like that cycle never completes. It just like, it's almost like you skip the end and then you just like wake up. It's almost a Groundhog's Day type of energy because there's never really any conclusion or closure there. So what's being delayed? I mean, it's already here in a way, but what's being delayed? This is not what I was expecting, but that's fine. It's fine. Excuse me. Ooh. You two had a long day. I didn't think it would be as long as it was, but there are a lot of pieces moving right now, and even more pieces moving. And I'm just doing all I can do. Well, I hope you enjoy your doodle time on the porch. On the porch. What's delayed? Hello? Okay, we're back. Let me do this one more shuffle. I feel like this deck is large. The cards themselves don't feel like they're that thick. But like this deck altogether seems fairly large. We're gonna. Oh my gosh. I just turned the TV off. It's fine. My pure white screen. There we go. It's back. I had to search for pure white screen today. Usually it just pops up. I was like, am I not supposed to go live? Oh well. Okay. So what is what is delayed is the Lovers in reverse. This is the only major that's in reverse. I'm going to read the Lovers. Let's read the Lovers. The upside down Lovers. Ooh, excuse me. Can't find the beat, stepping on each other's toes. Oh, they should have said feet. It's time to decide whether you want to continue to be dance partners or part ways. The upside down lovers indicates communication challenges or bickering and encourage you to reflect on whether you want to make the effort to repair the damage. See, that's why this reading is so tricky. Because it's like the Ten of Swords doesn't pop up if something is like easy. You know what I mean? But maybe that's that Emperor in reverse too. It's just like somebody does not show up. And that somebody could be us in some circumstances, situations, or it could be somebody else. But it's like when it really matters, when you need someone, because Hopper is also like a rock for a lot of people. But again, it's like if he's not there, it feels like everything just falls apart. But with that Lovers in reverse, it's like it's almost like an energy where it's like actions speak louder than words. And I was actually gonna say that earlier somewhere, or it just popped into my mind earlier. But it's very like actions speak louder than words, but there's no action. And so with the Lovers in reverse, it's almost like, do we even want what it is that we say that we want? The Six of Strands is behind that in reverse. Six of Wands. Is this Erica? I don't remember this. Holy. Let's look at the Six of Strands. Strands. Success can appear in many ways, and the upside down Six of Strands can suggest that you're struggling to reconcile your version of winning with someone else's. If you are proud of simply making it on the leaderboard, but see a friend angry because they came in second place instead of first, don't question your feelings of pride and validation. Other people's journeys are not yours, nor should they be. So, this is what's delayed. But I don't know if, like, this is necessarily what was prepared. I guess I'll just stay in the same deck. So, without this delay, like, what is the Hierophant and Justice working on? Like, what were they doing? Oh no, 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 no. That's like way too many cards. Way too many cards. Way too many. Because it looked like the Hierophant was on vacation. Like the Hierophant was like, my job is done. And then Nancy's like, no, like they need you because they said they can't do it. And Hierophant was like, well, did you tell them that, like, insert whatever here? Okay, what were they working on? All right, wait. Nancy's gonna get to the bottom of something. So this is what Nancy was working on. Justice was working on. Oh gosh, two cards, only one at one. Strength and the Chariot, both in reverse. I'm looking at Max and I'm like, is this season? Is this the new season, Max? That's what Nancy was on. She was getting to the bottom of it. And then Myrrh, the Ace of Strands in reverse. I promise, like, not every card is in reverse. Six, or is that the four? The four of spokes in reverse. See, here's an upright card. Oof, the eight of spokes. That's the eight of cups. It's not the eight of dice. Nine of spokes in reverse. The hermit upright. Okay. Well, it feels like something just shifted backwards. And I say that because of this. This is the Ace of Strands, right? And I was like, oh, on this Justice card, that looks like the Ace of Strands up there because in the Ace of Strands, only one of the light bulbs was lit. But this is what the Hierophant was working on. But like that Ace of Strands is already in the next card. Or was okay. Maybe it's not moving in reverse. So he would have to turn this upright for it to be on for Justice. So maybe we're right where we need to be if the because there were three cards. If the Hierophant is present and Justice is in the future, even though it didn't originally go on that one. Strength in the Chariot is interesting, especially because it's Max, right? Like Max doesn't have a license. Doesn't necessarily mean she can't drive, but she doesn't have a license. With Justice here, it's almost that like it's okay to break the law in certain instances. Now, this is what it's reading like. I'm not telling people or not telling people to break laws, okay? But it's like if it's an emergency and she's not going to endanger herself or others majorly, then it's like take the keys, drive the car. And so it's almost like Justice was working on getting us comfortable enough to do something, to move forward, to again with the lovers in reverse, to like make some kind of choice or decision to take a stand. And that would have been it's almost like this domino effect type of situation. But the first domino like didn't go down because of the emperor in reverse. So none of the other subsequent dominoes go down either. I'm gonna look for the fool because that's what this is feeling like. We're gonna look and see if the fool is upright or if the fool is in reverse, and then we're gonna look and see what's before and after the fool as well. So, oh come on, come on, come on. Oh, Oh, I thought that might have been the Fool. Hey, the Six of Strands is up right now. The Moon. Oh, snap. Is that Susie? No, it's Argyle. Darn it, this is current. I didn't watch the last episode. Oh, spoilers. Where is Will? Where is the Fool? Yep, that's Victor Creel, ain't it? Okay, I found the Fool. You see? You see, Matt? Matt? I actually saw this card at the cut when I was shuffling. Oh no, we know how well this worked. Bob is here. Bob is in reverse. Will is upright. This is why Bob is questionable. And the Seven of Spokes is also in reverse. I don't know what this is. Wait, was it in reverse or was it upright? Well, it's upright now. I think it was in reverse. I flipped it upright to look at it. So the Fool is upright in between. The Fool is upright in between the Seven of Cups and the Magician. Bob. And then it's like, if Bob would have took 5 more steps, maybe he would have survived. See, that's the thing about the 10. That's why I think it was yesterday. There was the 11, and then there was the 9. And it's like the 9 is at the end, at the precipice. The 11 is both feet on the other side. But with a 10, it's like you're not necessarily far enough across the threshold to like not get gobbled up by a dog on the other side of the door, because girl, like he was right there. He make it out of the door, then he just like, yeah, that's why I'm like, oh, that made me so upset. I was like, you were already out, like get out, like fully out of the building before you like breathe that sigh of relief. But that's the thing about the 10, is that sometimes you can just as easily go back to the 9. Justice is the 11. Duh. Okay, so anyway, I actually like this energy. The Fool upright with the Seven of Cups in reverse, this makes it feel like, this feels like the Fool knows that none of these options are it. So the Fool isn't gonna sit here and like Two of Swords and Hanged Man and all kinds of stuff trying to choose which one of these 7 options is the one. There's something within the Fool that knows that none of them is. So the Fool is going to continue moving. And then Bob would be the one that's like, oh, just like pick one. Like there's nothing more, like these are all the options, blah, 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 blah. Well, if I were you, this is what I would do. It's like, okay, but like you're not Bob. Bob is not you. What did the 6 of strands In reverse, say it, everybody's path is different. So Bob's plan works for Bob because that's Bob's path. Will was dealing with forces that Bob didn't even know existed. And those very forces ended up being his undoing. It's weird though, because for some reason this feels like Will going back into the upside down to save Bob. So there's a difficult choice or decision that's made. So maybe this is going back in a way. Maybe this is the retrograde energy. It can also be the like a retrograde on top of a full moon in Pisces. Because y'all know Pisces, y'all know 12th house. It's dreams and fantasies, but it's also illusions and nightmares. But it feels like it's actually going back. Like it feels like Will is going back into the upside down voluntarily to save Bob. So Will and the wheel, Wheel, it feels like Will deciding to go back in is what's going to turn this emperor upright. Now, I'm not telling anybody to go into anything because we'll just say we ain't get that far in the reading yet. But that's what it's feeling like. And that would be interesting because then, if that's the case, it's almost like Bob's advice to Will wasn't for that first encounter or interaction, it was actually for the second when Will chose to face his fears and go back in. I feel like this just got real interesting. I want to know why. We'll just see what comes out. I gotta keep putting like flipping half the deck. Why is Will going back inside? Because the Seven of Cups is like the Seven of Spokes is bright. Why is Will going back inside? Well, I guess Bob is the magician. Okay, thank you. Ooh. Why is everything in reverse? The King of Dice in reverse flipped over in the middle of the deck. The Wheel of Fortune is at the bottom in reverse. Uh, Victor Creel, I was just talking about you, wasn't I? So It feels like everything they thought they knew about the Upside Down in the first season versus everything they know about it in the most recent season is completely different. And it feels like by Will voluntarily going back in, there's something that he discovers that's like it wasn't there the first time. The energy feels like it undoes what happens to Victor Creel somehow. And then I look over at Nancy and this justice card, and it feels like something else was put in the dark. This is so weird. Like something else was put in the upside down to get Will to the truth. Now, like motive and motivation has been a theme for Virgo season. That's the Virgo season theme over here, at least. For Leo season, it was like, know yourself. Like, who are you? Do you even know who you are? And the motivation is like Bob motivated Will to go back inside the upside down. So some kind of love or something like that was the motivation to go back in. That's what helped Will face a fear. And it's like, it's that motive or intention that unlocks something more. And it makes me think of that Six of Wands in reverse again, talking about paths and stuff like that. Right. So maybe the Fool. So the Fool realized that in the Seven of Spokes, none of those spokes were going to get the wheel turning in the way that they wanted. None of those options were viable. And so they go back inside the dark with something else in their heart, with their energy, their aura reading in a completely different way. So then that causes these other lights to light up. Then it's like almost like a constellation of stars, but it leads to a different outcome. So let's see what this other outcome is. Maybe. What's this other outcome? I don't think this deck has a title card. Kind of wish I had one. What's this other outcome? Oh, goodness. Oh, oh. I feel like I keep trying to lose cards. The sun in reverse. What? Hold up. So here's the sun in reverse. It's dusting. But look at this. And look at this. So is this like a world where Dustin and 11 end up together? Question mark. Or something. Well, what about Susie? I don't know. It leads to the sun in reverse. What I actually like about the sun in reverse, it's the sun in the upside down. So it brings light to the upside down. A place that's almost like born from darkness, thrives in darkness, and lives to play host to darkness. But what's interesting about this is I don't know if this sun being birthed in the upside down is necessarily noticeable in the right side up. That's interesting. I feel like I should just leave it here. I think I will. I will. I'm going to put these all up right, and then I'll get a final card. So basically, it's almost like things slip in between timelines because they're already in different dimensions. But timelines more like an alternate reality. Uh, Timeline more so than like a past, present, future timeline. As timeline in the way that we usually hear the word timeline, and the context that we usually hear it. Or at least the way I usually hear it. I don't know about you. Excuse me. And it's interesting because it's some weird again it's some weird timeline timey-wimey thing, whatever. Because it's almost like, and again it takes me to that Six of Wands in reverse. It's almost like how different um Come on, brain. It's like how, like, let's say there's two people, person A and person B. And it's like in person B's life, in person B's timeline, person A is the bad person and they do whatever, whatever, whatever. And then person B comes into their own, and person A is in their life to get person B to the point where they empower themselves and do whatever. And in person B's, I'm the main character timeline, that's how it works. But it's like in person A's timeline, the dynamic is different. And so person A goes back into the upside down, and then somehow the sun ends up rising there. So in the upside down, it actually becomes better than the right side up. But in the right side up, it's like the status quo has remained. And so we almost have like this divide or this branching, whatever. I'm like, wait, what does any of this mean? These are all the cards that were upright. These are all the cards that were in reverse. Oof. Well, now they're all going to be upright. So it's like that. It's not exactly the same. Cutting to that fool again. But it does feel like the sun is going to rise in the upside down. But the sun is going to rise wherever Will goes because of the energy that Will is in as he moves. Maybe that's why the chariot and strength was in reverse, because it's almost like that would have been moving forward with a different energy. The motivation and the motive would have been different than the motive and motivation that Will had when he went back into the upside down to save Bob. Now, both energies, because of how I read them, carry like an urgency or an almost crisis. But there's something about the way that Will goes about it versus how Max was not going about it that gets it to play out different. But it's almost like that whole reading was like one experience. I don't know. I'm just gonna stop trying because it's like it was, but it wasn't. You know what I mean? Whenever stuff starts involving like time loops or time travel, my brain is like, well, wouldn't that just be like an infinite loop? But then I have to be like, no, because for the person experiencing it, they go in, they do the loop de loop, they come out. If we observe that situation, it's like this person shows up right as the future version of them leaves. And so it's like person A shows up and they're doing all this stuff. And then they meet person B. And then person B leaves. And then you find out that as person B is leaving, they meet person A. And so like there's this loop that happens there. Like my brain gets caught in that loop. Because it's always like, well, like if we follow this person by the end of it, they're here and they're about to do the loop again. Like, and then they meet and then they do it again. And then they meet, they do it again. They meet. And they're like, oh my gosh, that was me. What? From the past. I didn't even know that was me. But in my brain, it's like, oh, so they're about to go and do this and then they're going to meet themselves instead of it again. Like, and then it just continues. Because that person, that iteration of that person, the first iteration leaves the loop. Anyway, Will not leave the cut. Oh, look, it's Will and Nancy. See, this is what I was talking about. This is why it's like all one thing. Because Nancy did something in the upside down because it wasn't working in the right side up or something. Oh, snap! I got another song. Oops, I forgot the G, the first G. There we go. I love that you can just like right click stuff and it'll be like, do you want to Google what you right clicked? And I'm like, yes, I would. Thank you. And it opens it up in a new tab. Okay. So, final card, please. Oh, snap. Will's not at the cut. Who is this? Who is this? Oh, it's a picture. I don't know who that is. I should have watched the last episode before I did this. Okay, final card, please. To end this time, wimey, whatnot. Okay. Angela. I don't know why that just popped into my mind. So the chariot came out with the star at the bottom of the deck. Wait, girl, is this like another timeline or whatever? Because the whole thing was like with the Ten of Swords in reverse, especially, and the Eight of Pentacles, like with the Ten of Swords in reverse, and the Emperor in reverse, and the Ace of Cups in reverse, there was something that like could not be healed, or there's something that could not be faced, and so the divine had to orchestrate some things and step in and do this whole like redemption arc where Will voluntarily goes back into the upside down and then brings the sun into the upside down. Because, like, the thing that they were working on or whatever, like, Justice, Nancy was trying to get Max to drive the car. But here is like, what's his name? Oof, how did I forget his name? I'm like, his name ain't Will. I don't even. How did I forget his? I'm not surprised that I forgot his name because. Okay, Lucas. I was not gonna remember Lucas Sinclair. I remembered his sister. I can't remember her name now, but I remembered her. Oh, what's her name? I literally just remembered it on the 6th of Wands when I was like, is that? It's just time for me to go to bed. It's fine. Lucas is ready to drive. Max was dragging her feet. Lucas is like, oh, the car, bet. All right. What's also interesting about this is, though, it feels like the car is positioned to leave Hawkins because the welcome to Hawkins sign is facing there. So, like, that would be going this way, right? If you can read the sign. But it's like it's coming out. What about Lucas Sinclair? Let me finish reading that star. Shining with inspiration brighter than 1,000 Satan's baby fireworks, Lucas Sinclair knows how to turn his ideas into action. When the star rises for you, it means that all things are possible. You have rejected limitations and dismissed doubts. Now you find yourself blazing a magical path to success. Mornings may be for coffee and contemplation, but Hopper's chariot is all about action. When this sweet ride rolls up, it's to embolden you to chase your dreams. It doesn't mean it will be easy. It will mean dedication, willpower, and focus. But consider this card a green light. So both of these are about action. Both of these is like some magical path, some like you didn't even know it might be possible. Good night, Matt. What? There is a path for those who are not ready to drive. You'll get there. You still like will still finds the sun. Maybe that's just like the heart of this. It's like there's a path for everybody. If we so choose to take it. Oh, snap, is that his basketball gear? Is that in the last episode? Oh wait, have I seen that? Because they went to the place. I don't know. It's funny. And then the Queen of Dice is behind that star. Queen of Dice for me is Libra, Cardinal Air. Nine of Spokes, Nine of Cups is behind the Queen of Dice. What's interesting about this, because the Nine of Spokes is behind this Queen of Dice, this bicycle right here, in this magical AF looking place, and it was all about blazing a magical path. It feels like Lucas and the star might actually see beyond this and might take the bike. Might take the bike instead. Then what would the Queen of Dice be? The Queen of Dice would be minor pre, major minor pre. The Queen of Dice would be minor justice. In the context of this, it's not needing the full embodiment of justice to show up in all of its universal cosmic e-ness, because of the action and initiative that it takes. So that, more than anything, almost feels like a choice. Because the chariot is perfectly fine. I'm going to read that Nine of Spokes. Because maybe the choice is just that, like, maybe action is too much action. It's like you don't need a chariot of action when you're going to take action. You know what I mean? If you're going to do the action, you can do it with a chariot. You can do it with anything. This is basically the energy. Where the spokes see. Do these go backwards? The Nine of Spokes. Remember the lesson of letting go learned with the Eight of Spokes? This card represents the something better you were waiting for. It's time to indulge yourself to reward all the dedication and hard work you've done. So that's why it doesn't go for the chariot. Because it's done. At least for now. The something better you were waiting for. And that's interesting because that's how I initially read the Magician in reverse, the Fool upright, and the Seven of Cups in reverse. Well, that was more so the Fool and the Seven of Cups in reverse. It's like not. It's like knowing that you don't have to pick one of the seven options. If none of them are viable, like don't pick any. You don't have to the best of a bad, whatever. I mean, you can, and maybe some take it as it resonates, because maybe sometimes you do. You don't always have to. But if you listen to a Bob will convince you that you will. But it's fine. That's all love. So anyway, this is whatever it was meant to be. Not necessarily my whatever, but I think we got the gist of something happening with a little bit of Mercury retrograde energy and a little bit of that full moon Pisces, especially by the end, it seems. The Nine of Cups is Jupiter in Pisces, I think. Ten of Cups is Mars in Pisces. Eight of Cups is Saturn in Pisces, I think. I don't know. I don't remember. I know the Ten of Cups is Mars in Pisces because I had a whole thing about it when Mars was in Pisces, and some folks was like, "Oh, Pisces is all illusions. It doesn't matter what you're gonna do when Mars is in Pisces because none of it is gonna matter because none of it is real. Wait until Mars goes into Aries." And then Mars retrograded in Aries, and Mars was in Aries for a long time. But I was like, Mars in Pisces is literally the Ten of Cups. Why are we telling folks not to do anything? It wasn't a we. And that is when I fell out with astrology. But different paths for different people. Six of Wands said as much. It wasn't my path to continue in that way. That was actually the beginning of all of this chili, peppery, hot, heat, fire, airness. That's when the fire and the air woke up in my chart. And I was like, you know what? Earth and water is cool, but sometimes it's not enough. And I knew about as much. So anyway, I hope you all have an amazing whenever you see this, if you want one. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. And I hope that you allow your path to be your path in a way without projecting anything onto it more than what needs to be there. Right? Like, I think a little bit of self accountability is amazing, but we don't need to like have so much guilt or so much shame or so much whatever built up around something that it becomes like paralyzing. You know what I mean? Or it's like we don't have to have so much control that we struggle to find enjoyment in life, where enjoyment presents itself, especially. Um, but yeah, now I might get that tarot of the opposites because I want that one too. That one looked pretty cool. Check out Everlong Mystic if you don't already. She actually, excuse me, she did like went through the cards. So, All right. I will catch y'all in the next time. And then I will catch you in the next one next time. Sweetest dreams and good luck in this season. I don't know if you're going to need it. Just like it really feels so reworky. And like that was the energy of justice. It's like that's what Nancy was doing. It was like Nancy was like, okay, well, like, so if they're going in this direction now, how do we reconfigure the path to get them somewhere else or to get them where they were originally going, to get them to the next step? It's like, oh, they went left. Okay, so it's like GPS rerouting, but it isn't always necessarily going to reroute you on the exact same path that you were before. Right? you might take a different path and you may see something along that other route that actually gets you to change the destination. And if that happens, then maybe it was meant to happen. Who knows?